Gareth Swanepoel on his Elna Fox Kawasaki has been unbeaten so far this season and led the championship by 7 points from last year's champion Jaco Wolmerans going into round 3.
Gareth, you're unbeaten this year in the junior category. How are you going to play today's race?
I'm just going to go out as positive, try to win the race. Just want to get as much points as I can and try to smooth.
Jaco, your biggest opposition?
Yes, he is, but today in practice I looked like I was quite a bit quicker than him, and we'll see how it goes.
The youngsters on their 80cc machines off the line for Heat 1, and just look at Gareth Swanepoel shooting into the lead immediately. On his outside, it's Mario Foster who goes wide, going to turn 1 a bit too fast, and it's down. Oh, somebody else goes over him, but both of them seem to be all right. As the rest of the field piles through turn 2, it's already Gareth Swanepoel and Jaco Wolmerans opening up a lead.
Back on the racing again.
Further down the field, and Christopher Doyle in 5th has a battle on his hands to keep Lawrence Mahoney away. 7th is Javier Schoenrath on his Yamaha. And with the leaders pulling away all the time, numerous battles were developing down the field. After his disastrous start, Mario Foster on his Honda was moving up and now started to challenge the midfield runners. But another great ride for Gareth Swanepoel, who just raced into the distance. The young Elna Fox Kawasaki rider has decimated the opposition this year in both Total Super Series and motocross. On the last lap and coming up to some back markers, Swanepoel couldn't even see the opposition as he took the checkered flag for the 18th consecutive time. So, Swanepoel from Wolmerans, these two dominating the junior motorcycle category this year. Clayton Duckworth brought his Kawasaki home in 3rd ahead of Lawrence Mahoney.
Gareth, well done. That seemed to be easy.
Yeah, it was very easy. I got the whole shot, and I think Jaco fell off, and I just pulled away from the rest of the pack.
You think it's going to be that easy for the next 2 races?
Yeah, if I could just keep my head straight and I just get a whole shot, yes, it will be.
Now to the 4-wheelers, and in the pro quad category, the battle between Christo van der Merwe and Jacques Struwig was hotting up. The two sharing the lead in the championship after 2 rounds.
Christo, jy is gesamentlike voorloper saam met Jacques, maar net 1 punt voor Wiek is 'n baie belangrike bijeenkomst vandag vir julle.
Ja, definitief. Ons is nou al in die series in vers, so elke punt tel definitief, jy weet, en ons wil graag wen, elke ou wil wen. En die baan is baie verander vandag, het ons gesien. Maar is redelik vinnig vandag, baie oop. En ek dink dit gaan 'n stawwe race wees. Ja, ons gaan definitief mekaar 'n go gee vir daai eerste plek.
It's a tricky downhill start, and with all the riders trying to get to turn 1 first, one has to get your speed and your line into the corner exactly right. It's a relatively small field, so no problems as Jacques Struwig on the only Suzuki takes the lead into the second corner. A bad start for Christo van der Merwe, who's only in 7th position. Out of the tight left-hander, and it's Struwig ahead of Paul and Mark Breckel, and oh dear, Struwig's got a problem. He's pulling off to the side of the track, and it seems as if this Suzuki has just died. That's a tragedy for the joint championship leader. The rest of the field streaming through, and Wikus van Deventer on the Jojo Tanks Honda also had a bad start, but he's starting to make up and is already up amongst the leaders. But it's Paul Breckel on Team Brasco's Philips Rotax who's taken the lead ahead of his brother and teammate Mark on a Yamaha. Breckel now opening up a lead, and Van Deventer is up to 4th. A few laps later, and now Christo van der Merwe on the Johannesburg Yamaha Banshee has moved past Mark Breckel and into 2nd position. Wikus van Deventer is also challenging Breckel for 3rd. Paul Breckel hasn't won a race yet this season and is reveling in his 1st position, pushing the Brasco Philips Rotax to its absolute limits. Behind him is Christo van der Merwe, and then a tremendous battle for 3rd between Mark Breckel and reigning champion Wikus van Deventer on the Jojo Tanks Honda. Breckel cannot afford a moment of relaxation, the track being extremely slippery, but just look at his high-speed quad control. Getting towards the end of the race, and Breckel is sizing up the challenge of Christo van der Merwe behind him. Van der Merwe is wondering when Van Deventer is going to arrive on the scene. Still, it's Paul Brickel, but Van der Merwe is starting to catch. Brickel hasn't had this kind of pressure yet. Will he last? Van der Merwe is clear from the battle for third and can concentrate all his attention on catching Brickel. Difficult off-camber left-hander just after the finish line, and Van der Merwe is on the very edge of adhesion. Brickel knows that Van der Merwe is closing the gap, and Van der Merwe knows that he doesn't have a lot of time left to do it. Now, Brickel on the Team Brasco Phillips Rotax, pushing extremely hard and getting tired. Van der Merwe has seen his main championship rival Jacques Struwig come to a halt and wants to capitalize to the maximum. He wants that first place, and he wants it desperately. It's a long, fast uphill climb towards the finish line, and the gap between Brickel and Van der Merwe is closing all the time. But it's the last lap, and all the leader has to do is to hold out for the checkered flag. Brickel wins his first race of the season with Van der Merwe in second and Wikus van Deventer eventually coming in third, ahead of a hard-charging Skalkberger.
Paul, were you surprised with that? Your best finish so far this season?
Yeah, Wednesday from lack of trying, but I was surprised. I actually got a good start. I don't know if I'm fit enough to keep it up, but I'll keep on trying.
You reckon it's maybe the beginning of a comeback for you?
I don't know. I hope so, but we'll see.
The super special category for specialist off-road vehicles is also becoming a hard-fought affair, with Jackie Joubert and Bux Carolyn on equal points going into round 3 of the championship. Last year's champion, Wolf-Peter Filmfire, was just 6 points adrift.
Jackie, jy en Bux saam voor in die kampioenskap, hy sê dit is vandag sy dag.
Ja, nee, ek sal maar 'n bietjie genadig wees vandag. Ek sal nou nie met 'n lap wegry, ek sal maar met 'n halwe lap wegry. So, hy moet maar kom.
Laas keer by Taalton het jy 'n paar probleme gehad. Het jy dit nou opgelos?
Ja, nee, ons het baie gewerk aan. Nee, dit is alsoos nie elk. Nee, ons het 'n bietjie moeite gedoen.
Just after the start, and already Joubert in the Jojo Tanks Beetle Volvo and Bux Carolyn in the Haas Chenoweth are fighting for the lead. Behind them in the scrap for third is Max Moore, Peter Filmfire and Colin Frankenberg. Joubert's Beetle is four-wheel drive and powered by a Volvo V6 Turbo, but Carolyn's Chenoweth seems to have the upper hand in the handling department. Frankenberg is keeping a wary eye on the battle between Moore and Filmfire. Sideways through the left-hander, and I think Carolyn has overdone it. Yes, a little bit too much power too early, and Joubert takes the advantage. A great scrap between two men who don't give an inch. Through the flat-out downhill off-camber left-hander, and you've got to judge it perfectly to the left-hander at the bottom, not to scrub off too much speed by sliding sideways. Joubert gets it perfectly right. Joubert knows he's got a battle on his hands, and Carolyn is exerting maximum pressure to force the leader into a mistake. A large crowd braved the early winter weather, but their hearts were warmed by the great spectacle put up by the best off-road racers in the country. Nice camera work there, and that's Carolyn taking the lead. Joubert has slowed down dramatically with what must surely be a problem. Carolyn coming up the hill and Joubert moving very slowly. It's a puncture in his right front wheel. That's the problem. He's going to be furious. Now Carolyn has a clear road ahead of him and behind, and all he has to do is to cruise to the finish. In third now is reigning champion Wolf-Peter Filmfire in his WPP Sturmjäger, ahead of Max Moore and Colin Frankenberg. But not for long. Filmfire moves into second as a highly frustrated Jackie Joubert tries to nurse his Jojo Tanks machine to the end. Filmfire has had a steady season so far, consistently finishing in the points and lying in third position before this race. He builds and prepares his own car and can be very satisfied with his second position behind Carolyn. But Carolyn probably has a wry smile underneath that helmet as he ponders the fate of his championship rival. No need for any fancy stuff now, as he has the race all but sewn up. And that's the end of the line for Jackie Joubert as he pulled off the circuit, not wanting to cause any suspension damage by driving on a flat tire. The leader, Bux Carolyn, in his Haas Chenoweth, racing past the stricken Beetle Volvo Turbo and on his way to another victory. He's obviously tapped off slightly, just going fast enough not to lose his concentration. It's a pity that Joubert had the flat tire because these two always put up a great fight and show off their driving and racing skills, sometimes to the amazement of the spectators. With the demise of Joubert, Carolan was on his way to a maximum points haul and a potential lead in the championship. In second position and pulling away, Wolf-Peter Thumfai with Max Moore in his WPP Footloose in third ahead of Colin Frankenberg in his Scorpion. These two have also settled into their positions in a disappointingly small field with only 4 cars still in the running. But a crushing victory for Brooks Carolan in the Haas Chenoweth ahead of Thumfai, Moore, Frankenberg and Joubert, who completed enough laps to score points and keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I don't know what happened to him, but that car's got such acceleration up the straight, he was gone. And then I saw a bit of puff of smoke come out of the right back window of his car, and I knew there was something wrong, so I thought if I just push him a bit, whatever's going wrong is going to go wrong big time, and obviously it did.
Back to the bikes now, and in the open category, Gary Peterson on the Team Brasco FMF Racing Kawasaki was leading Ian Topless on his Elna Fox Kawasaki by 5 points after 2 rounds of the championship. Under starters' orders and all eyes on the fight between the 2 men in the top of the championship. The mad dash to the first corner, and who's going to get the whole shot? It's Topless. Gary Peterson going very wide and falling back into the bunch. Alan Julian on his Shell Racing Honda is in second. They've settled down after the hectic first few corners, and it's Topless from Julian, Gary Lipchik on a Honda, Russell Campbell on a Kawasaki, and Peterson is still down the field in 7th position. Up the hill for the first time, and Topless has Julian glued to his rear wheel. Behind them, the order remains the same, except Gary Peterson is moving up and is into 6th position now. Topless and Julian pulling away as the rest are scrambling to sort themselves out. Alan Julian on the Shell Racing Honda is on the ragged edge as he tries to close the gap on Ian Topless on his Elna Fox Kawasaki, but Topless is a double motocross champion and is not going to give anything away. Gary Lipchik is still third, but now Greg Aspinall is under pressure from Gary Peterson, who's moved past Russell Campbell into 5th position. Still Ian Topless with Alan Julian not far away, but a huge battle for third is developing between Gary Lipchik, Greg Aspinall and Gary Peterson. Peterson is well placed to take Aspinall on acceleration out of the bottom corner, and does he do it? There's the leaders, and there's the second group. Peterson goes past Lipchik on the inside, and Aspinall takes him on the outside. Peterson and Aspinall side by side, and Peterson gets past into 3rd position. Great riding. Topless and Julian, and there's Gary Peterson in 3rd. Just look at the way he throws caution to the wind. Peterson now chasing Alan Julian for 2nd position, but Greg Aspinall is still hanging in there. There's the gap. Julian is through. Peterson and Aspinall are catching. Through the right-hander, they can see Topless and Julian ahead of them. Alfie Cox on his AGA Panasonic KTM is challenging Campbell for 6th place. This is Gary Peterson on a charge. He's got only one thing in mind, and that's to first catch Alan Julian for 2nd, and then to haul in Ian Topless in the lead. But Ian Topless doesn't let himself get hauled in, and he won the race easily ahead of a back-to-form Alan Julian and Gary Peterson. Cox eventually got by Campbell, who pushed Lipchik down to 7th ahead of Gary Bloomfield.
Yeah, that seemed like another walk in the park. Yeah, no, I basically got the whole shot, second into the corner, but I came first out of it. Just ran a good race, kept a nice gap. Really good race.
Back to the four-wheelers now, and in the production vehicle category, Henry Zamutton had a 1-point lead over Frank de Greef after round 2. while Paolo Piazzamusso had a comfortable lead over Cliff Barker in the Super Truck category. But the big talking point was the debut of the Castrol Toyota Hilux Super Truck to be driven by American champion Rod Millen.
Tyler leading the championship going to round 3. Are you confident?
I am. I think for the Creepy Crawley Ford Courier team, we've got our work cut out today. Myself and my teammate Craig have got to try and beat the Toyota team with the American driver Rod Millen. I think if we can beat him, it will be a great achievement. I mean, the guy's a multiple world champion, so if we can do that, I think it's a task on its own, you know.
There was huge interest in the Toyota, which has been imported from America, where it was campaigned by Millen in the Mickey Thompson Stadium Off-Road Series with great success. The vehicle, the same model that took him to his 1994 stadium title, is fitted with a 2.8-litre V6 engine and has rear-wheel drive through a single-speed gearbox. The multiple rally and stadium racing champion was keen to get going.
Rod, your first time out here on the circuit. You, of course, know this truck inside out. What has it been like?
It was great. You know, it was great to get back into this truck. I hadn't been in it for 2.5 years, so it was a period of time that I had a lot of fun in my motorsport career, so it was good to get back out of it. And, you know, the track here is certainly a lot faster to the ones that we're used to in the stadium. We normally run on the size of a football field. So here it's 2 or 3 times as big, a lot more speed. But, you know, the truck went well, and, you know, I'm very happy.
The big guns, the super trucks that have captured the imagination of motorsport fans in South Africa. Millen's Toyota is fifth on the grid. A good start there by Paolo Piazzamusso and the Creepy Crawley Ford Courier. Production vehicles in the back of the field. Frank de Greef takes the lead from Henry Zamatten. Piazzamusso in the lead ahead of Cliff Barker. Rod Millen and Toyota already up into third position. Millen has the inside, and through he goes to take second from Barker in the Pennzoil Land Rover. Leading the production vehicle category is Henry Zamatten in his Chev. As they thunder down the hill, Zamatten and Frank de Greef battling for the production vehicle lead. Millen is catching Piazzamusso at a rapid rate of knots. Here they come, and it's Piazzamusso who outdrags the Toyota on the uphill. The Ford's V8 power gives him just that extra bit of grunt out of the corners. All eyes on the battle for the lead between two hardened professionals. Millen wants to take the Castrol Toyota to victory on debut, but Piazzamusso is going to do everything in his power to prevent him from doing so. Piazzamusso is an experienced rally driver and has taken to short course off-road racing and the Creepy Crawley Ford like a duck to water, while Millen has been winning rally and off-road championships since 1975. These are no palookas behind the wheel. Side by side out of the bottom corner, and again the Ford outdrags the Toyota. Piazzamusso seems to have the edge on the straight. Millen's better handling super truck allows him to catch up through the twisty bits. Oh, and a little mistake there by Piazzamusso. That allows Millen to pull right next to him. There it goes. Millen muscles his way past Piazzamusso and into the lead, but great car control there by both drivers. Millen throwing that Castrol Toyota Hilux around with gay abandon to the delight of his crew members in the crowd. Further down the field, Craig Draper in the second, Creepy Crawley Ford is in third, but Cliff Barker in the Pennzoil Land Rover is starting to come under pressure from Linton Draper in his Raceco Chevy. That's one of the back markers who's cried enough while Craig Draper, Barker and Linton Draper come past. Millen has pulled a substantial lead on Piazzamusso in the front, so the closest battle was this one for fourth between Cliff Barker in the four-wheel drive Pennzoil Land Rover V8 and Linton Draper in his Raceco Chevy. Draper was getting closer all the time. Draper tries on the inside, but Barker has the line for the right-hander. Draper on the inside again. Down the hill to the bottom of the circuit, and now Draper just pulls away on the acceleration and into fourth position. That's the leader, and Rod Millen is in absolutely dominating form. Piazzamusso has seen the Castrol Toyota getting away from him and is probably hoping that something would go wrong for the American. Now, coming up to lap Cliff Barker, and Millen will have to be careful. He hasn't raced in South Africa and he wouldn't know how the back markers react to being lapped. Having to bide his time, Millen might have to slow down slightly, allowing Piazza Musso to close the gap. But the American is acutely aware of the situation. Barker pulls out of his way and Millen slides the Castrol Toyota down the hill. Just look at the handling of that vehicle. The Hilux straightening out immediately, regardless of how its driver throws it into the corners. A dominating debut for the Castrol Toyota Hilux in the hands of Rod Millen, and with more of these super trucks on their way to South Africa, it augurs well for the future of super truck racing in Total Super Series. Frank de Greef took the production vehicle race in his Beetle ahead of Zermatten and Henny Costain in his impressive Volkswagen Porsche. Rob, that was an extremely impressive debut for the Castrol Toyota super truck.
Yeah.
Was it as easy as it looked?
Oh no, some of those guys are quick and they're hard to get by. The Fords have got a little more power than us on the straight. I think the Toyota handles a whole lot better. It's fun to be back driving this machine again.
What was the circuit like in race conditions?
It was good. You know, there's a couple of ruts developing, but you know, we soon learned where they were and just to stay away from that and just press on, keep an eye on everybody. You know, it was a lot of fun.
Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have.